Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Down the Rabbit Hole. This week we're talking about a little quilt of mine called Strawberry Fields. This is a bit of a favourite of mine, mainly because all of the fabrics that are in the centre here and some of the ones around the outside were a present from a friend a very, very long time ago. And they're Cathkidston fabrics. They were only in 10-inch squares, and I only had sort of one piece of each one, and I just loved them so much that at the time I thought for ages about how to use those fabrics so that I wouldn't waste them and I'd be able to look at all of them all the time. And this was the pattern that I came up with. And at the time in the shop at Material Obsession, we had this wonderful print that you can see on the top border there, and there's a strip of it on the bottom as well. And it's a very open weave linen. It was a Japanese thing that, I mean, heavens knows where it came from. Incredibly open weave and a bit shifty, but it was just so perfect that I couldn't resist. So I put white linen all around the outside so that I had linen in between the two. And then I used this, I think this is linen as well, and this is a Cathkidston, so it's that kind of, it's not linen, but it's sort of almost a little bit canvasy, which is the same as all of these in here. So they're fairly heavyweight. And then this was a Ewer spot. That's one that I think they still do now these days. And then that was kind of my premise for the whole thing, was like, okay, I'm going to go spots and strawberries and linen and, you know, make it all work together. And it did for the most part. If my friend Erica is watching, and I'm sure that she will be. Erica, at the time that I made this quilt, was the editor of Down Under Quilts, which was a wonderful, wonderful magazine in Australia that was available for many, many years. It's sadly defunct now. It was such a great magazine. And Erica was the editor for a long time. And at the time, she was the editor, and I made this quilt, and I duly sent it off to go in the magazine. And she sent me back a message saying, "Oh, beautiful, love the quilt, all fantastic. I think there's something wrong with the pattern." And I was like, no, the pattern's fine. So she did some calculations. No, I'm sure there's something wrong with the pattern. So I remade the block to the measurements that she sent. No, it didn't work. So then she tried to make the block. She's a very good quilter. From my pattern, no, it didn't work. We went back and forth between the two of us. I mean, this looks like such a simple block. I cannot tell you. It was like the curse of Strawberry Fields. We went back and forth between the two of us. You know when sometimes things just will not go in your head? Wouldn't go in my head and wouldn't go in her head, and we went back and forth for ages and ages. Thankfully, by the time it went into the Material Obsession book, we had gotten it right and published it in Down Under Quilts, and everything was fine. But it was just one of those things, and it's become, Erica and I are still friends 20 years later, very good friends. And it's still a bit of a joke between us. So Erica, if you're watching, I know that you love this quilt so much. Here's Strawberry Fields just for you. Now, when I quilted this quilt, and it's a quilt I'd really like to make again because I love the block. I think the block is really clever and fun, and I love how it makes that little secondary star. And I'd actually love to make the quilt again and piece something inside of here. Maybe I will. And if I do, I'll make sure and share it with you. Either that, or I'd really love to make it and put great big K facets in there, or, you know, some beautiful big floral, and then have something that's holding it all together, like a frame around the outside, you know, some black and white spot or something. It'd be absolutely fabulous. It is a great way to showcase fabrics that you have that you've absolutely loved, you know, that you haven't been game to cut up, because that's a nice big square. It really is a big square. They're 10 inches finished. And it's a lovely big piece to be able to show something off like that. When I quilted it, I used masking tapes. It's all hand quilted with big stitches. And I used masking tape, and I really wanted to get a star pattern inside of the star block that I'd made. So what I did was I used masking tape to join up the opposing points on the inside of the star, only on some of them. So I've gone across the centers here like this, and then I used my patchwork ruler to help me get the masking tape on to join those points up and make that star inside. So it all comes into the middle in this lovely pattern, and then the star is on the outside of that. And when you've got that great big piece, and they're not, you know, hugely standout prints, it's not like they're enormously bright and vibrant or anything like that. But what it does is it gives those lovely soft prints a little bit of extra texture and interest, so that when you look at it from afar, you actually see that star sort of slightly superimposed into the blocks, and it really makes a lovely pattern. And then I used the masking tape as well to come down into the sashing parts here and accentuate around the triangles. So if you would like to make Strawberry Thief, it's in Material Obsession 1. It's also available as pattern, paper and PDF on my website. However, if you are going to make it, I really would love if you send me a picture of it, because I'd love to see this done in lots of other colours. Every time I've taught this quilt or had somebody bring one to show me or something like that, everybody wants the red and white spots because it's Strawberry Fields, and I guess everybody's sort of going for that lovely shabby chic look that it has. But I just think it would be so striking in a different colour, and it would be a wonderful boys quilt as well. It would be a great boys quilt with like some big space prints or something like that on the inside. So the more I'm talking about it, the more I want to make it again. So you never know, maybe we will. Would you be interested in a sew along if I did? Let me know in the comments. See you next week.